signifies I'm one hell of a guy. I'm the one that televised, still telling me lies. Brung flowers for the dead when I said my goodbyes, and wrote a letter to the better, y'all can never deny. Terrorized with them guys, then I severed the ties. Realized that them niggas wasn't ready to ride. Me, I still abide by the respect and the pride. Reppin' and wise, top 5, dead or alive. I'm a certified gangster, word of my grandpa, the real Scarface that fertilized Frank up. Play with my bank, I'll blow your whole camp up. Bust shots till my fucking hands cramp up. So stand clear and prepare, this a grand premiere. They all amp cause the champ is here. With a brand new swagger for the fans to cheer. Cuban link chain hanging like a chandelier. Still a crook, still off the books this year. I got them shook like they about to get whooped in here. I make it look like a 9-chef cook this year. Bling pun, bling the beat, now they put me here.
Cheers, salute. You already know what it is. Your favorite Puerto Rican GQdaembassy. Alongside my shooter.
What's up, baby boys? It's your boy Cuban Link, CLK Entertainment in the building.
Hey.
Off the Books podcast. Back in effect, episode 3.
That's right, man. Special one, too.
1, 2.
Episode 2 was fire.
That's right.
Now we back for episode 3.
That's right. We had some legends. We had Mr. Schick last time. You know what I'm saying?
Man.
Incredible, piece of history for hip hop.
Testimony was outstanding.
Yeah, testimony was outstanding. Shout out to Mr. Schick.
Facts.
But today we have a special, extra special with the sauce on it. You know what I'm saying? One of my favorites since I came without even knowing English in this country.
Okay.
Actually, you know what I'm saying?
You got the intro? You gonna intro this one?
Well, no, I'm just giving us.
I think you should intro this one, man.
No, I will let you do it.
All right, no doubt.
But you know, we both do it. How about that?
All right, there
what
you
I'm
go.
saying? This is a teamwork.
So for you, go ahead.
Yeah, for me, one of my idols, one of my the Mount Rushmores. You know what I'm saying? When I came as far as the mountain of hip hop.
Very accurate.
You
to
know,
say.
and from movies to his music to representing the culture back in the days, how it was. You know, how he captured the whole, embodied the whole street, scenery and the hip hop scenery in the Bronx, especially, in New York.
Facts.
It was special to me. So, what else? Now you gotta throw your sauce on.
Yeah, man. Well, for me, you know what I'm saying? It's a twist of things that are special, right? So growing up, listening to his music as well, you know what I'm saying? My mother was a huge fan.
Oh, your mom. See, my mom didn't know.
So
English.
she
We didn't know English in my house also. I went dolo for him because he was everywhere. So,
but then being able to meet him, and work with him and form a beautiful relationship. You know when the saying, when your idol becomes your rival. That's not how it is for me with this.
Okay.
It's when your idol becomes your brother.
Okay, that's how shit go. That's how hip hop.
You know what I'm saying?
That's how it goes.
So without any more further ado, we got the double intro on this one.
If I rule the world, I get all the fly girls.
Let's sing it.
I love them, baby.
We don't really know the rest of that.
Yeah,
Sorry,
the second part is baked lions and squirrels. And we was playing around. We was like, yo, what he said after that? But yeah, man, no further ado, it's your man, the icon, the father, one of the fathers of hip hop. You already know, man, Mr. Kurtis to the Blick-Ho.
Hey, what's going on, my brother?
All right, man. Great introduction, guys. Cuban Links, thank you.
You're
GQ, you know how we do.
Facts,
man. Thank you, guys, man. It's my honor, my pleasure, and I'm so grateful to be here.
Oh, man, same here, man. It's a pleasure for having you here.
Facts.
So, So how you been? How you been, Kurt? Man, how you been, man? I'm
Man, well, we're doing life, So I got my ups and my downs, I'm riding high in May and fall down in June, get back up in July, and we rolling, So it's all good. I'm just grateful to be alive. Every morning I wake up, I thank God.
Amen. Amen.
My eyes are open. Thank God for opening up my eyes and starting me on my way. You know what I mean?
Opening. That means that's a whole new meaning nowadays too. Opening up the eyes.
Yeah.
Especially when you get older. You know what I'm saying?
It's a good day. Any day above ground is a good day.
Scarface.
Amen.
That's Scarface. That's a quote from Scarface. If you remember that.
Fire, man. Yeah. So you today is Sunday, so hip hop church was in full effect, correct?
Yes. No, actually, I went to my home church out here in LA.
Oh, shout out to the West Coast.
Yeah. It's a church called In His Presence Church. It's incredible. church service. They have a really good choir, some really good sounds, and the sound was incredible. The fidelity. Some churches, they don't have it all together. It sounds like we in the park with the distortion and it's not clean, but the fidelity today was there. It was incredible. Video fidelity. The production was really professional. Seems like perfect what it's supposed to be. And so the spirit was really felt today. Got a lot of food. The sermon was great as well.
Do you
So,
perform when in actually the church? Do you perform like do you
oh
incorporate
yeah.
hip hop and you do like shows as far as like the show for the church? Or
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, a lot of hip hop came out of the church. So
mm,
we at the hip hop church, we trying to bring it back to God where it came from in the first place.
I
So
see some see some
we
artists.
got a
Yeah,
lot of
Yeah.
that crowd response. The first time we say "ho" or throw your hands in the air,
mm,
that's the same as the preacher saying, "Yo, can I get the congregation to say Amen,
that's right.
Amen." So
That's right.
now with the hip hop church, when we say Amen, you say word. So Amen, word,
Oh,
Okay,
that's
Amen.
okay.
fire.
That's right.
So
That's right.
we got our little routines. When I say Jesus, you say Christ. When I say Hallelujah,
Yeah.
you say Hallelujah.
Yeah, we got to
All that
incorporate.
good
We got to
stuff.
incorporate.
So
Fire.
that
We got to
crowd
coordinate.
response is the fun part of the hip hop church, and is
Beautiful.
very important that we get the crowd into it, and that's
Yeah.
what it's
Yeah.
all about: worship together,
That's right.
praising
Get
God
that energy,
together.
that human
Amen.
energy within each other, and let God take the lead from that. Definitely, that's what it is.
Amen.
And
Yeah, yeah.
Kurt, are you you've been in California as your place of residence for forever, or did you used to live in the East Coast too? Right, you lived in the Bronx. I mean,
Oh
in New York,
no, born and raised in Harlem.
Harlem,
Well,
Harlem.
actually, I was born in New York, but when I was born, I came home and I went to Queens.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
I went to, a lot of people don't know that. I went to 40 projects.
Ooh,
Well, it's now
Oh.
called South Jamaica Houses,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I've been there. I've
But
been there.
it was 40 back in the day. And
40, yeah.
so I lived until I was like about a year old before my mom got really situated over in Harlem. And
Okay.
so
Yeah, because you
from
had that Harlem swag back
Oh,
then,
yeah.
but you also have that Cali swag, the calm, real calm, just courteous. The way like Cali has a different vibe, always did. Like when I visited.
Yeah, well, I grew up in Harlem, but so I went to elementary school in Harlem.
Okay.
And so, how we used to go to school, junior high, all that stuff, in the summers, everybody from New York would go south or go on
Right.
a vacation with their family. We'd go back to school after summer was over, and people was like, "Oh, where'd y'all go? Oh, we went to North Carolina. Where did y'all go? We went to Georgia. Where did y'all go? Well, Kurt and Kim, my brother Kim. Kurt and Kim, where did y'all go? Oh, we went to Queens."
Yeah, that was the fun
Wow.
part when New York.
You,
That was our
you ain't really go
vacation.
too south on that
Yeah,
one.
people in New York, we don't travel outside the usually the boroughs too much.
We went to Queens.
Yeah,
That's
Queens.
fire.
Hung out in Queens. So I got a lot of love for Queens, a lot of love for Brooklyn as well.
Yeah,
Yes.
Recorded a lot of stuff over in Brooklyn. Man, the Fat Boys over there. If I Rule the World, that
love.
song
Yeah,
was recorded out in Brooklyn. Yes,
Wow.
it
Fat
was.
Boys,
And,
man.
and uh,
Another one.
also love for the Bronx too.
Yeah,
Got to
Yes.
show my love for the Boogie Down.
no doubt,
That's
man. So
man, the birthplace, and I was there, and I saw it happen.
take us to
Man,
that
shout
trip.
out to Cool Herc, shout out to Copeland Rock, shout
Hmm.
out to the Twins and Trixie and Dancing Doug and
Yeah.
all those b-boys who used to go to the Executive Place House, black back in the days,
Shout out.
in the 70s. I'm talking about
Right.
75, 76, way before the
Yeah.
records came out, yo. We was break dancing and dancing to special music it was played by a couple of DJs back there, like Cool Herc and of course Flash and uh, Bambaataa and Red Alert and
Mm.
DJs back then. Even Kid Capri, I put him on the totem pole because he was there. He was there as a young shorty,
Mm.
13 years old,
DJ Kid Capri.
playing this b-boy music. I'm talking about obscure disco, like Give It Up or Turn It Loose by James Brown, or Getting Into Something by the Isley Brothers, or Listen to Me by Baby Huey, or The Rock, dan 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 dan
Mm.
dan, Scorpio, songs like that were very special. These are the old soul songs in the world of disco. Everybody else was playing YMCA,
Mm.
and Donna Summer and all that disco stuff. But
Right.
up in the Bronx and Harlem, we wanted to hear that soul music, that funk, that
Right.
that obscure disco. It was dance music,
With the edge.
but it was obscure. And what it was obscure about it was it had a funky break in it.
Them
It
breaks is
had to
important.
have a funky
These
break.
are the breaks. You did it. You
So the
did it.
B-boys could do their thing,
Yeah,
You
the
paid.
get down part is what
You
I
pay
remember.
homage to the
Was
breaks.
the get down
Mm.
part. You
yeah.
know it. Yes, that's
So
it. The
so
break.
just let me keep you in that right there. So you obviously know that as of I don't know within a few years, there's been a lot of rebranding of the history as far as the origins of hip hop. Now you did mention what spot was that you said you used to go to?
Executive
Executive,
Playhouse.
right. Now there's plenty of videos out there. They're showing a few people that say that that's really when hip hop started, and not with Kool Herc and and that's where it's been real conflicting
No,
the
no.
last few years.
Kool Herc was the DJ at the exec.
But what they're saying is that the party that he did outside in Sedgwick, that wasn't really the birthplace
And I heard Mario,
of hip
DJ
hop.
Mario
Ah,
also. Like
Right.
DJ Mario was doing
that's
a whole
true.
Yeah.
different
That's
route.
true.
That's what they were saying too. Like it was
Yeah.
kind of separated. Like Kirk was doing more of like ghetto, street thing, and DJ Mario was like doing the executive part, like the guys with money. That's the
Oh,
kind of
Yeah.
separation.
You
That's
talk
all.
about
see,
was it Grandmaster I forget the original Grandmaster.
Flowers,
Flowers,
Correct.
Flowers.
So
flowers.
they're saying
He from
that
Yeah.
Brooklyn. He was from
Hey,
Brooklyn.
they're saying
GQ, you worked on that movie with me, and
correct.
I told that story. The history of rap, where you had two sides to the coin.
Correct.
Of course, you had the b-boy side. That's the obscure funk, the ghettos get disco, we
Mm-hmm.
call it,
And they
right?
incorporated
You
breakdance
know,
and stuff like that, and
the
graffiti.
soul music where we wanted to hear the Jackson Five. We wanted to hear,
Right.
I want you back. All
Yeah.
songs, all the soul songs. I'll take you there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All that soul music, the Motown sound, and all that. And here comes disco, right?
Mm.
So Patrick Juvet and Donna Summer and Sylvester, my
All
good friend
all new
Grace
classics
Jones.
too.
Even the
You
Bee
know,
Gees. The Bee Gees was in
yeah,
there.
yeah,
Yeah,
the
right?
Bee Gees. There
Yeah.
you go. Thank God it's Friday. That
Mm.
movie when that came out, disco took over, and dancing was still the national craze. Though
Okay.
it was all about dancing.
Yeah.
I'm talking about from the b-boys to the disco and the hustle and all that, right?
Right. Right.
So dance became this national craze. You dance, you worked all week, which on your job, and on the weekends you went downtown to the disco with the disco ball and the mirrors, and
The weekend
everybody had on
warriors, as they
suits and
said.
Dancing with
ties and
Bland.
everything, and you danced your night away,
Wow.
dance your troubles away. It was out
100%.
of the civil rights movement, and now we have the hippie movement and love, peace, and all that. Let's forget about your troubles,
Yeah.
forget about your cares. We're gonna dance the night away.
Right.
So it was all about that. So those DJs that came out of that area, that side of the coin, I'm talking about. We're talking about economics as well, the haves and the have-nots,
Mm.
because the guys who were the disco guys, the disco street DJs. They had the equipment, the boss equipment. Oh my God. You know, Earthquake sound systems,
Mm,
Sherwin Vegas and
mm.
Richard Long sound systems. The fidelity again was immaculate. And they were, like say, running things. They were the kings of New York. You know, we're talking about a set of DJs that you don't even know. Pete
Right.
DJ Jones, Grandmaster Flowers,
Hmm.
Maboya, Plummer, Rip and Click, uh, uh,
The
and
twins.
then you have Reggie Wells, DJ Hollywood,
Wow.
Mm,
Eddie
DJ Hollywood.
Chiba,
rest in
and
peace.
Lovebug Starsky. I know
Rest
you
in
heard of
peace.
him,
Well, I
right?
was with you.
So
I met
they came
Ebro.
out of that era.
Yeah.
But Lovebug was very special because he
Hmm.
was both sides of the fence.
Mm.
The B-boys loved him. As a matter of fact, he would play B-boy music, cool herc music, flash music in a world of disco, and everybody knew it. So when Starsky came on the turntables, everybody knew that we were going to go there,
Mm.
you know? And that's why he was, loved for so many years because he was both sides of the coin. He was a rapper, he was a DJ, and he played b-boy music in disco.
Wow.
So we loved it for him when he did it, you know.
So what
But
you say?
those are the two sides of the coin,
Right.
you know. And these guys never really got along together. It was like really competitive. You know what I mean?
Wow.
You would never see Pete DJ Jones playing or Flowers on a flyer, and you have Flash and Cool Herc
Yeah,
on
separation was there
Bambaataa.
already.
Wow.
No, there's separation right there.
And the
You
gangs
know,
were kind of big
they
at the
had their
time, right?
crowd,
Yeah.
which were younger,
Uh-huh.
all ages. I used to go to Cool Herc jams when I was 14, 15 years old. You
Wow.
know what I mean? And that was the thing. It was all ages. And that's how I got in, of course, And so when I grew up and I got a phony ID at one time when I was 16. I
Uh-huh.
went to 42nd Street
We all had those.
and got a phony ID,
The
right?
arcade right there, next to the arcade, the big arcade. There was a little place.
You know, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
you know the where to
yeah.
get it from downstairs, right?
Yeah, how you
So I
doing?
got a phony ID and I could get into all the clubs. And I'm talking about 1976.
Mm.
Whoa, I was everywhere. Empanimas, Nell Gwyn's. Y'all hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah. I would think we lost your video though.
yeah, the videos.
Oh, okay.
No,
Mine's
there
is
you are.
glitchy
You're
too.
back. You're
Yeah,
back.
you're
You're
back.
back. All right. Go
Is it
ahead.
connection?
Okay.
You connected to mine?
Yeah, he's connected.
Yeah, all those clubs, incredible clubs, Nell Gwyn's and what's the one I saw Eddie Chiba at the first time? Nemo's. Oh, that was a hot,
Wow.
hot, hot spot.
You talking about
Woo.
42nd Street?
Yeah, yeah,
Ooh.
44th Street and
Okay,
8th Avenue,
44th.
I think it was
Yeah, no,
something like that.
42nd over there was it's a whole
Yeah,
different scene at that time.
anywhere. Nell
Ooh.
Gwyn's was on the 42nd Street. Yeah,
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 Wow.
right. So it was like, whew,
that was the
that was a
karate flicks.
time.
Remember the karate flicks? 5 karate flicks for like
Yes, come on.
$5.
Enter the Dragon came out in
Couldn't
1972,
wait for those.
right? So
Yeah.
from there, every movie he released was a big, big monster hit
Mm-hmm.
in the ghetto for sure.
You loved
Wow.
it, man.
And as a matter of fact, the gangs, when you're talking about the gangs in the 70s,
That's what we were
that
saying. Yeah,
movie Warriors and all
Yeah.
that, the gangs were
Warriors.
really, whoa, we had gang wars and all that. It was a big problem, the Black Spades, the Savage
Yeah.
Nomads, the Immortals out over in Queens, the Peacemakers. I was in the Peacemakers. But the whole thing about the gangs was that we would fight in karate.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we had knives and guns. We had a whole lot of
Yo,
guns and all that.
yo, watch
But
the
it
Kung
was
Fu
all
flicks and they
about
go out there and
hand
practice the moves.
In every,
hand to hand combat.
in
We
every,
had
Wow.
like if you look at movies like black exploitation
Yeah.
films, how they say,
Bruce Leroy's everywhere.
but
yeah,
they say they
yeah,
always got like a karate Joe. It's
yeah,
always like a black man, like they
There was a karate
incorporated.
Kurt.
It was always,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Because they did though. I remember back in the
Yeah.
day they had
Yeah.
dojos in the hood.
There was a dude in the Black Spades. He was the most famous. His name was Karate Kenny.
It's
And
karate.
he
Wow.
could
Kid.
So it's
beat up 5, 10 people at a time, no problem.
damn.
Yeah,
No problem.
Yeah,
You
Yeah.
think that's where the movie The Last Dragon was inspired? Because it's New York
of
City.
Okay,
course.
yeah,
That was
of
like
Yeah.
course.
a little
That and
bootleg
Wild
Bruce Lee.
Style.
Yeah.
Bruce Leroy. I mean,
Yeah.
come on.
That's what I'm saying.
That's
Come
like
on.
McDonald's and McDowell's. The same thing. It's like this is what we do.
That's
Listen,
fire.
listen. I joined myself. I went to karate classes. I
Me
took
too.
taekwondo. I got to be a brown belt,
Were you
and I was
dressing
a
like Bruce Leroy
warlord.
though, walking around?
I bought a whole.
I
Did
was a
you?
I
warlord
Nah.
of the
I
peacemakers,
had the
the
ninja
Manhattan
slippers, the Chinese
peacemakers.
slippers. I had them too
It's karate
with the
Felix.
hard plastic bottoms, like for the $3.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we had the whole suit, thinking it was like cool to walk outside with this, like a whole fake black belt and everything.
Karate Cuban.
No,
We
it
all
was just a
were
culture, man.
inspired and motivated,
Mhm.
and
I know how it
just
was because my uncle was the same way. He was a Bronx
Kurt, did
cat.
you get enticed as far as like the dance of break dancing? Was you a part of like that type of
oh yeah,
Oh
actually with the
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
cardboard
yeah.
and
That's how I started. That's
once
how
they
I
started?
started. My
Okay.
mom was a great dancer. She used to go to the Cotton Club and see.
124.
I lived on 140th Street in Convent, which was right up the block from the
Mm-hmm.
Cotton Club.
Yeah.
You could walk to the Cotton Club from my
Wow.
house, right?
Mm.
And my mom used to hang out there, all her friends, and they used to, dance in the 50s and, of course, the early
A
60s.
lot of history.
And so, yeah, she was a great dancer. There was a lady who lived uh, above us, one apartment above us. We lived in the 96. She lived in 106 on this 10th floor. And
Mm.
she was a dancer and she danced for Stevie Wonder. She
Oh,
danced on the Dick Clark show.
Really?
And
okay.
so she tried to get my mom to join and be a part of their dance team and all that, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah.
That's right, by
But,
Riverside, right? By Riverside, by the
but
river
yeah,
in
yeah,
Harlem.
right. And so my mom was like, very humble about it. She knew she could get down, but everyone used to come over to our house and they used to say, "Dance for us, Minnie, dance for us." And she was like, "No, no, I can't dance. My son can dance." And she'd throw us out there and we, cut the rug.
Yeah.
Nice.
And that's how I started. My brother was great and I went up under him and became just as good.
Wow.
Okay.
And
But
so
that's where
my name,
you got your inspiration as far as to be like on TV and to music to be like that type of artist through your mother. You say?
oh yeah, yeah, she was an avid lover of music. I
Okay.
was her DJ at 6 and 7 years
Wow.
old. As a matter of fact, she used to go to the corner record store right here on right around the corner on 141st Street in Amsterdam. And I remember they used to have a speaker outside of the record
Mm.
store playing music all the time, right?
Mm.
And she used to go in there every week, Fridays, to get the top 10. And I used to read that list. And that's how I started to learn how to read really well.
Wow.
Okay.
Because you were
But
interested in that. Yeah.
yeah, we said she had to stay on top of that top 10 list.
Mm.
So I mean, I used to listen to the radio and get the songs, and I knew who the artists were, and so I was doing my research way back then as a
Okay.
shorty, and I was the family DJ whenever we had birthday parties or holidays or
Right.
people used to just come over and we were playing music. I would walk around the room with my pen and pad and get the requests and everything. Go back to the component set. You remember the component sets
Wow.
Yeah.
with the 45s
Yeah.
and
Of
Yeah. Yeah.
course. A little extra
Absolutely.
piece.
and
That
A little
little.
piece
Yeah.
and
in
Yeah.
the middle.
and
Yeah.
how that hook would just slide
The 8 tracks.
over
Remember the
Yeah.
8 track?
Yeah.
I
and
don't
that
remember the 8
record
tracks.
would
Ah.
drop
Yeah.
down and the needle would come
It
over
was.
and drop down
Yeah.
and play from the beginning every time. That used to fascinate me,
Me
that
too, man.
process.
I
Just
remember.
You
watch
know
the
what I
arm
mean?
just come up and do. Oh my!
Oh yeah, when it
Yeah.
first
Even when it
happened, yeah,
ended,
the
I
automatic.
even when it would end and go at the end of the record, and it would just automatically know to
You had
lift
the.
back up and reset, go back. Oh
Did you ever
man,
have
you
the
know
portable one? Remember the
that
portable
yeah,
one?
technology fascinated me. I couldn't understand why
Yeah.
yeah,
did it drop at the same place
Mm.
every time.
mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
I used
Yeah.
to love that noise
So
though in the beginning
Clack, clack, yeah.
I
before the record
became
starts.
the family DJ, and that's how I started DJing at an early age. I say 6, 7 years old, And like I said, my mom was,
What
an
year is
avid
that?
fan of music.
What
That
year?
was 68.
All right, so let's
No,
stay
67.
so stay at 67. You're 6, 7 years old, outside. Were you hearing anything out in the neighborhood that you could remotely say reminded you of the times of like the beginning times of hip hop's creation?
I knew that there was a difference between the music and the sound of music. I knew the difference between pop music, the Beatles,
Hmm.
as opposed to Frank Sinatra,
Right.
as opposed to even when is it Aquarius?
Oh yes, yes, yes. Big time.
Big, huge song. I
Yeah,
remember
absolutely.
that. Back in the 60s,
Hmm.
right? I'm a little shorty listening to this on the radio. I'm like, wow, wow. But then I hear songs like, The Temptations,
Hmm.
right? And I'm hearing that funk, like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Pop up out
yeah.
of Rolling Stone. You know what I'm saying? All
Dun,
that.
dun,
Doom.
dun, dun, dun,
Woo!
Exactly.
dun.
Yeah, just the music
So
that
I
started
know
for
the
like
difference
11 minutes before the
between the
actual lyrics
beats.
came.
So this is 64, 65, 66. I'm hearing, Sam Cooke. My mom is loving
Mm,
Sam Cooke and
Wow.
and Jackie Wilson and all that,
Yep.
right? And but I'm hearing this
yeah,
Beatles on this other end, and it's not bad, but it's not like, you
yeah.
know.
You get to appreciate
Then
them later, but as far as us, yeah,
1968.
yeah.
Listen to this. 1968. There was an artist. Made a song called uh, "With Your Bad Self."
Mm.
Self.
Say it loud.
Slow
That's
J.
I'm blacking up. Oh, when I heard
Yeah.
that,
what?
I
Yeah,
lost my mind. I lost my mind. I thought that this man was the most incredible. The beat
that
was
was around
just as
the
funky that I loved because I knew that there was a difference in the beat. There was funk, there was soul
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
in
It was
There
some
was
of
different.
these
pride.
songs.
There was
Some of
Different.
pride.
them was like, of course, we grew
Yeah.
up with the
No, yeah,
pat,
he was a
pat,
whole
pat,
movement,
pat,
body
Yeah.
pat, boom,
movement,
pat, pat, pat.
the
But
accents,
here
see,
comes this
accents,
new
the actual riff.
right,
Mm.
the snare on the 1, 2, 3, and the 4. But
Yeah,
now we
Mm.
have something we call boom bap,
yeah, the boom
like
bap is
is
imagine that too.
that boom bap. Oh my
Mm.
God.
Boom, ta, boom,
That
You
boom,
is
said,
so
what is
yeah.
that?
It makes you shake your head. You see that, Cuban? I feel
boom.
you right there.
Yeah, yeah. Come
You
on.
see
Back
it,
in the days, we
man?
used to make the
Cause you
music
feel
with
it.
our mouth.
Yep.
You used to do that.
Uh,
I came in
and
that. Come
then
on,
you have
before, but
the quarter notes on the hi-hat.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It was a sound. It was just a sound, that boom bap sound. Yeah,
and,
Mm.
and and that's that funk that
yeah.
just you feel it,
James,
you know what I mean? It's different, it's just a
James had that
different
funk
sound,
that hits
you
different.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
James
yeah,
had that
yeah,
awkward funk, but it was a
it
funk that
makes
you
you
would
want to
feel in your
shake your
heart.
Yeah.
head, it
Yeah,
makes you want to
snap it.
boom back.
Not even go like this.
Yeah.
It just make you snap like,
uh, uh, uh,
like,
Yo, for
yeah,
real.
and
yeah.
shake with it, you know?
Yep.
The big
Yes,
plays
yes.
that. All that.
Mm.
So
Ooh.
I knew that from the very beginning. And this is why I started to really love music so much because I realized that there is some soul in the music.
Mm.
Oh,
And it comes from the drum, the anticipation of the hi hat and the snare drum, along with that kick.
Yeah.
And that's hip hop,
yeah,
the
yeah.
innate love of the drum.
The drummer.
Amen.
That's why I
It's
wanted to
my
be a drummer when I was
ancestors
going to.
Yeah.
talking to me right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
The griots, back in the days, they was just used to travel from village to village with congas, just playing a beat.
Yep.
Bongos and congas. Oh yeah,
Hmm.
made out of lambskin. Like they make their. Come
Right?
on,
Yep.
that's
Yeah,
straight
and
from the
then they
earth.
used to rap. They used to tell stories to the villagers about the village, their travels, the last village they came from.
Like
And they
spoken
used to do
poetry.
it in rhyme,
Yeah, and spoken
Wow.
poetry. Well, they played
you know?
the
Yeah.
drums. Yeah,
So
yeah.
This is
African culture.
hip hop. We
So
are modern day griots,
so six,
messengers.
7 years old, you're hearing around that time a lot of disco, and James Brown starting to emerge and become the the new face
I could
of.
dig rapping.
So yeah, you
I
see
could
what I'm
dig
saying?
scrapping.
So at that time, on top of the instrumentation of James Brown, was it also the message that also brought out, because he was like a complete package. So now, 'cause you know what I'm saying, like
Very important.
I'm assuming at that time, you got civil rights is a major thing,
Come on, man. Come
right?
on now.
And so now you have
Yes.
Yeah, the
James,
riots,
right?
L.A.
Yeah, yeah.
riots at that time, where he did Black and Proud.
Yeah,
Remember, he did the
right.
show.
So here we
Yeah.
are. We have, the inspiration that you need, and you need that voice. You got black leaders that are leading the marches, right? And now
Come
you
on
have
now.
the soundtrack of
But
that
it was different
movement.
type of artists back
Amen.
then, bro.
And here comes James Brown telling them
He was
they're
special.
black and they're proud.
Yeah,
So now you can't nobody
Oh.
say nothing.
he was forced to
They've
become
been
like a
brought.
leader
Listen,
for the
they've
people.
been kicked down. They've been all type of stuff. The worst of the worst.
You see it.
And,
You
and
see it.
here it is. Here it is. Now
Martin Luther
Martin
King,
Luther King is.
they killed him.
And here comes James Brown, the soundtrack of the civil rights movement. It's pretty much spearheading, and then from there, it seemed like the movement of black excellence was really just not starting, being able to be seen, because black excellence was already happening.
Right.
It just the revolution wasn't televised at that moment. You know what I'm saying?
That's why
Right.
those guys are so special, man. Like the
Yeah.
Muhammad Ali's, that they were supposed to be just boxers, but look what they did. They had
Yeah.
to
You
crawl,
know,
become that.
Yeah, yeah.
That's St. James Brown,
that
the same thing.
is
He was a musician, but he became like a political activist leader, like for the black
And
people.
through music.
So, and they had to be.
Right.
They played that position because they was forced to, because of the love for the people that they had.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that's why you got to give those guys,
Yeah,
man, a whole different.
definitely.
You know.
I'm so glad that you guys touched on that point, because that is maybe the most important part about hip hop is the ability to bring a message. Like the griots. We are messengers for our people.
Yeah.
People in LA can know how people in New York are living uptown on 149th Street.
Right.
And people in the Bronx
Yep.
can know how people are living over in Compton.
Yep.
You know, so it's our communication with each other, but it's also teaching. We have the ability to teach, and it goes back to the original and what you just said. What about the lyrics of James Brown? What he
Right.
was saying. So
Every
this origin of hip hop, this culture came out of the civil rights movement. And
revolution.
again, that was 1968 when he made that song. He made that song because they killed Martin Luther
Yeah.
King
Right.
in
Yeah.
1968.
Yes, he did.
Amen.
Amen.
Malcolm was already murdered in 1965.
Yeah.
So that was crazy. But it really affected me personally. And I'll tell you this story. I was in elementary school still.
Right.
So we had to do a report, an oral report. And we had to pick one of our heroes from the civil rights movement. So my best friend and I, Carlton O'Neill was his name, is his name. Carlton and I, we both wanted to do Martin Luther King,
Okay.
right? So it was, for me, it was either Martin or Malcolm.
Right.
So we put them both in the kitty. And then we chose, you know how rock, paper, scissors.
Right. Right. Oh yeah.
He won. So he got to do Martin. And second place was Malcolm.
Malcolm.
So I got to do Malcolm. So I read the book, the autobiography of Malcolm X by Alexei Haley. And man,
Before that, did you know
I
enough?
read the book.
Before that,
And
before you picked him, did you know enough about Malcolm like that? Like when you went into the book and you finally found
Of
out?
course, of
Okay.
course, I knew he was the fire.
He was
He was
Right,
the
yeah.
fire to the
Yeah.
civil rights movement, and Malcolm was the
The
heart.
water. He was the water.
You know,
Yeah. Fire
was
water.
the water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I knew, but the other thing I did not know that well, I knew he was from Harlem. They said he hung out in Harlem,
Right.
Right.
and I found out he hung out up the block from me on Amsterdam. I live on
Wow.
141st Street in
When he was red, he
Amsterdam.
was red first. Remember red?
Yeah, yeah. Chicago Red? No.
He was something.
Boston Red? Something
Yeah,
like that.
he was
I
red
think
though.
so.
He was red. He had the
So
conch in his
so
head. All
so
that.
the all along you didn't realize how close you were.
So listen. I went and I did it. I did the oral play. I got A, right? No
Awesome.
problem. But when I read the book, I read the whole book and I found out he was a hustler. And then
Yeah,
he
Yeah.
met
yeah.
Elijah Poole in jail, and
What a
they
testimony.
formed this incredible movement. The
Hmm.
Islam with the mosque and everything, and I loved their food. I used to eat their steak and takes. Oh my God, I missed them so much. Whew. But anyway, um, so I'm 13. So
Wow. That's
I
a
wanted to
impressionable age.
become Malcolm.
Yeah.
That was my whole plan in life. Is I wanted to become Malcolm.
By any means necessary.
Um,
Yeah. What was your
but
thought process?
I had a way to do it. Of course, I wanted to do the Paul Robeson first
Okay.
and get enough power and exposure out there. I wanted to
But
go and
what was your mindset as far as once you started to realize you wanted to be you led more towards Malcolm? Did you
I
feel like you
became a
were
hustler.
oh,
I became
I'm
a
gonna
hustler first.
I'm gonna put his shoes on and walk through them. I see.
I started running numbers like Malcolm for the same number runner.
Wow.
Happy.
Oh, so you were emulating
Wow.
him. You was emulating exactly
Damn.
his life.
No, but check this out. And that same year,
Hmm.
I'm living in this building on Convent Avenue, 140th Street, called 260 Convent Avenue on the ninth floor, apartment 96.
Mm.
Mm.
Guess who moves right next door to me?
No way.
At 13 years old, you said, right?
I know. By this time, I'm like 14,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
So
Don't tell me.
We're
Tell me.
talking
Tell us.
Malcolm
Tell us.
X moving
No,
in.
he
it
ain't
was
Malcolm ain't moving.
Attalus Shabazz.
Oh,
No. This is
Oh,
his
Angela
daughter.
his
His
daughter.
daughter, Attila.
Attila. Oh, okay. Wow.
The
That's
light
a
skinned one,
cool
the
That's
name.
pretty
okay.
one.
I've
She
never
was
heard
so
of Attila.
beautiful. I
Attila.
had a big crush on her. Man, she was about 4 or 5 years
And he tried
older
to go
than me.
all the
She
way
Yeah,
got
he
into
was.
him.
I'm gonna marry
her
into
I'm
own
gonna
that
go
chick.
into
apartment,
the exes.
Yeah.
right?
He was really trying to get into
So
Malcolm X.
during that time, I'm breakdancing and everything. Every time she came down the block, it's up on the hill.
Yeah.
Amsterdam and Hill,
Yeah.
Convent is a little hill going down towards St. Nick's and then the valley down
Hmm.
8th Avenue, all that stuff, right? So every time I saw her coming down the hill, I used to run and grab her groceries, her packages, and help her go upstairs. If she didn't have any, I would just wait for her to get there. I open the door for her and press the elevator for her
You
and just
stalking.
ride
Just
up on
Stalking.
the
happened to be there at
elevator.
every
Stalking.
time.
Scott stalking there.
I
Curtis.
just
Scott stalking.
wanted to ride up on the elevator with her because I could smell her perfume and
Yeah.
just
Oh my God! That's we. Oh,
be
when you were
near her.
shorty, when you
You
were
know
shorty, and you remember that? I
Yo.
remember the perfumes the girls
Yo.
used
what?
to have. I would still to this day remember the fragrance and
Done.
everything.
Yo.
I
I
still
asked
remember.
her later on. It was Jungle Gardenia.
Oh man.
Oh Lord.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he was gonna catch a case. He kept
Yeah,
on.
yeah. I was
Don't get in
stuck. I
trouble,
was
Kurt.
stuck.
Don't get in
I was
trouble. You
stuck.
heard?
That was beautiful though. That was
But
beautiful.
here's one day.
Yeah.
One day.
Teenage love.
So during that time,
Teenage
the
love.
gangs was really crazy and stuff. You
Yeah.
know. So as kids, we used to throw rocks over St. Nicholas Park down into the valley,
Mm.
and we used to hit people sometime. And
Lucky.
We
one
all did
day they
that.
was waiting for us,
We all did
right?
that. The
And
roof.
we throwing a rock, and then here they come. They jump up the whole thing, climb up there. We gonna get you now. We gonna. Oh, so we start running. Woo, woo, woo.
Mm.
Everybody split up. So they follow me. They behind me. So I
Man.
go in my building. You know, I run up the stairs. No elevator. I ran up 9 flights of stairs. Right? They after me. Wow. I get to the 8th floor. I go in get my keys out, and I drop my keys. Oh my God! Bam! So I go around the corner and the door opens from Atla's apartment,
Yeah.
and it's actually her mother,
Mm.
right? So I ran in her house. I grabbed her mother. Grabbed her. I'm a shorty during that time, so I grabbed her around her waist,
Yeah.
and I put my head in her stomach. Right? I
Yeah.
said, "Help me, help me! These boys, they gonna kill me." And
Mm.
then right then they came up the stairs, and she said, "Oh, you boys." Leave this boy alone. He's a good. Go back downstairs. Leave this boy alone. He's a good kid. Go back downstairs now.
Mm.
So they went back downstairs, and she waited for me to get my keys. I got my key over my door, and I remember before I closed the door, I looked back, and we locked eyes, and I said, "Thank you, thank you, thank you," and she threw a thumbs up. She said, "You be safe, boy."
Little did she know
She,
that you started the whole
yeah.
fight and you threw the rocks.
No, but that was Betty Shabazz.
Yes. Wow.
That was Malcolm's wife.
Wow.
Saved my life, y'all.
God bless. Yes,
God
yes.
bless.
That's a piece of history there.
That's
Oh, I
amazing.
was wrong. I was wrong, but
That's what I'm saying.
she
Yeah.
You didn't
saved
tell her,
my
yo,
life.
Yeah.
I started, Miss Shabazz.
No. I just didn't want to die.
Didn't matter who was
You
wrong or
threw
right.
rocks? You threw
Because
rocks
that's what
again
they
after that day?
said. We gonna kill you. We
You
gonna
threw rocks?
kill
You
you.
threw rocks after that day, though? Again?
Oh, never ever
There
in
you
my
go.
Yeah,
You
life
learned
a
your
have I
lesson,
lesson.
man.
thrown
Yeah, for
You
real.
learned.
anything.
You learned your
Not
lesson.
a rock, a bottle, a piece of rubber band. I don't shoot rubber bands at people.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I
With
wa-
the little paper. You take the paper, you
yeah.
remember?
A paper clip?
You,
No, oh my
not the clip, not
God.
the
Yeah.
Oh
clip, the
my
paper.
God.
You take the loose leaf
Oh,
and you fold it up and then you go pow. You hit people because the paper clips, you take a higher.
oh my
You really
God.
get in trouble.
Yeah.
Wow. So all right. So now you're
So the
13.
gangs, wait. So the gangs are definitely a prominent,
A real thing.
a real thing that's going on. Are the gangs like affecting your life in a way? Okay.
Yes.
You never joined one.
Gangs really put a traumatic experience on everybody's lives who lived in,
Okay.
you know, uh,
Was there a similarity like how
those
the West Coast, like if you're from that neighborhood, you almost kind of, you have to be down.
have to.
Yeah. Yeah. Did it
But
feel
this is
that
in
way?
New York. This is in New York
Right.
you're
Right.
talking
New
about,
York.
right?
Yeah. Yep.
Well, the gang, what I'm
Mm,
trying to say is the gang, as far as the gang and the music, the hip hop,
pretty much the same,
Yeah.
the music,
you know.
and the gangs, that relationship was very strong. That it was like an influence
Yeah, the
along
gangs
with the
were
gang,
a part of the life of our lives. You know, it was like,
because a lot of
we
people credit a
used
lot of gangs to like how hip hop was shaped also.
Mm.
And I
Must
feel
for
have
I'm real
my
true.
neighborhood. My neighborhood, we were the protectors of our neighborhood.
He was a lot of
We
protect,
were not drug dealers.
right?
Okay.
You know what I mean? We were straight up military.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, we
That was
roll
that was
around
the era.
30 deep, just singing our songs, letting people know, you know, we never,
Black Panther.
ask people for money like
Right.
the businesses
Mm-hmm.
trying to
Oh, like
extort
extort them.
businesses and all that type of stuff.
They
Yeah.
did it for the
Nah,
right
we
reason,
wasn't in that. It was straight up, look,
protecting the
we are
neighborhood.
military. We are military. We are set out to protect our community.
Yeah, that was the
Can't
message, though.
nobody
We
come
lost
up
that
in
message.
here
The message got
shooting
lost.
up the
That was it.
place.
That was it. That was the
Yeah.
message. And that's what mostly all, black and brown people was on when it came to the community.
Right.
It was a certain few that was, of course, the bad apples
Right.
that later on took over because of things. But it was the message of
Right.
when we had community back in the days when I came. I didn't even know English, but I know that the black community when I was living at and the brown, Puerto Ricans that I was around, there was to protect the neighborhood, even the drug dealers. They were still the coolest, protecting the kids.
Wow.
Even them, you know what I'm saying, had that message that they was putting out there.
Wow.
So,
A stark contrast to how it is today. You know what I'm
it's
saying?
backwards. It's backwards. I mean, you let in too many apples. That's right. The bad
Yeah.
apples. One bad apple the apples kept getting rotten after a while. It was nobody really fighting back. You know what I'm saying?
So when did the element of hip hop start to really influence your heart?
Well, let's not say hip hop because hip hop, you got different
But I
definitions.
said the element.
As far as the rapping part.
Yeah, whatever.
'Cause remember the breaking, you got the graffiti artists,
Yeah.
all of that's together in hip hop, but the actual grabbing that pen and paper and
But
writing that
he
first round.
started. he started b-boying, right? That was your first introduction to what we
Well, that's the
consider hip
music.
Well,
hop.
That's the
actually,
music.
technically, I started as a DJ.
See,
You
DJ.
Okay.
know, like
Okay.
I was saying, with the family and my moms and everything.
Yeah.
And then I became a b-boy. But then I went back to DJing because the DJs were not playing that music that I could b-boy to.
Wow.
So that was very important.
The
See,
DJ
we
Mo.
as
So you
b-boys, we were
Yeah.
researchers. You know, I go to your mom's house, your uncle's house, your aunt's house, you know,
check the
sit
break.
up all day long,
Yeah.
listen to the whole music collection. I don't care what it is, jazz or rock and roll, country and western and
Some
different
funky,
pop music,
funky stuff. That's
Yeah.
it.
funk and soul.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, we got to listen to the soul, right?
Yeah.
Of
Go ahead.
course.
But,
Right.
but whatever song it was, if it had a funky beat,
That
a
funky
break.
special.
Yeah.
It had a funky break in it, then we take it back to the DJ. Yo, DJ, play this. That was our thing.
And then you
Wow.
get busy on the
And
dance floor. And then when the break comes, you go crazy. You know, on the
yep,
dance floor.
yep.
So now,
That was the whole mindset. So that was back in, I would say, 73. Like I said, you know, I became a B-boy
okay.
doing
And what
those years,
other artists
73,
out there MCing?
74. Huh?
When any other artists already MCing to the next level, where the neighborhood where you was from and you was observing, were they
No, I
already like,
actually started MCing in 1974.
oh,
At
okay?
a community center in Harlem
But
called Wham. That was on
before that though,
152nd. Before that, there were MCs. I would say there were MCs like the first one I saw
right?
was KC, the Prince of Soul.
Look at that.
Wow.
Yeah,
Look at that. Shout out to
he
Casey the
was with
Principal.
Grandmaster Flowers,
Okay.
Flowers,
right?
okay. And Flowers was from
But
Brooklyn.
Pete
Let's get it right,
DJ
right?
Jones. Now Pete DJ Jones
You introduced me
had
to him back in the day.
stole KC, the Prince of Soul, from Flowers, and
Steve.
he became Pete's MC.
Wow.
So I remember seeing them; they were
And
tops. They were tops in New York.
Flowers was really the
And there's
foundation.
another guy they had. His name was JJ, the Disco King. Uh, of course, you had the people in the Bronx. I would say later on in 74, 75.
Okay.
Like Coke Rock, who was the MC for
Right. One of the
Kool
first.
Cool
Herc,
Herc, right.
Yeah.
one of the first MCs. They said that he's the first
Met that brother.
MC of hip hop.
Hmm.
But I'm thinking hip hop is a combination of those street disco DJs like
Yeah.
Right.
Hollywood,
That's what they
That's
did.
that's
Mavoya,
what's being
Flowers.
said. That's what's being said today. They're saying
Okay, it's a
that
combination.
hip hop really started in Bronx River area during those
Hmm.
flower jams. You know what I'm saying? Grand Wiz Flower. You know what I'm saying? I mean Grandmaster
Well,
Flower.
Grandmaster
You
Flowers
know what
was
I'm
in
saying?
Brooklyn
That's
though.
what no, but he was DJing in the Bronx
Right.
as well.
He came
Yeah.
from Brooklyn over
So
there.
that's where a lot of this confusion is.
Flowers.
That
Yeah.
they're saying, they're saying that he's
I
really
don't
the
think
cool
the
Herc.
only time
Yeah.
I ever heard that Flowers DJ'd in the Bronx was at Yankee Stadium in 1968.
68.
Flowers
Look at
was
that.
from Brooklyn.
Yeah, he was in
Right.
Brooklyn.
But they're saying that he's done stuff at Bronx River. They had jams out there, this, that, and the third. I'm telling you, it's so
Yeah,
conflicting
yeah,
now.
it's inaccurate. It's inaccurate. But I tell you this: the only time I saw a Bronx DJ and a Brooklyn DJ, or let's say Manhattan, let's say we used to do things a lot, but Herc and Pete DJ Jones played one time at Hunter College.
Hunter College.
Wow.
And that I was
149 Grand
there. I
Concourse.
saw that. That was like
Yo, Hunter College.
1975 or
Hunter
something,
College in Manhattan.
76.
Harlem.
And it was incredible, you know, and Herc did very well that night, you know, playing
Yeah.
that B-boy music, you know. I was
Yeah.
telling you, you know, give it up to turn it loose. When I
Yeah.
heard that, I lost my mind, you know. Pete was
What's
playing the disco, of course,
yeah.
you know.
What's
Uh,
Pete DJ Jones accredited for as far as in hip hop? Was he the first DJ to play hip hop on the radio, or what was the?
He's the
no, Pete
underdog.
DJ Jones,
He's the underdog.
he was
He started a lot of
I
things.
would say the grandfather of hip hop. He
Yeah.
was a disco DJ who played. I mean, his mixes, I wouldn't say he's the first DJ to mix because mixing has been around since it was created
Right.
back in the late 60s by other DJs, and I can't even name them. I don't know who they were.
Right.
But the style of mixing, he perfected it, and he had precision timing, like Grandmaster Flowers was incredible too, right? But this timing was so very important to the dancing during that time, disco, straight disco dancing, which was the hustle.
Wow.
In order for you to do the hustle on beat, you have to have precision timing on your mixes. And the best part of the mixes are the instrumental parts, the break. Again, when we're talking about, disco music, again, that break that is in the intro of a disco 12-inch record companies started, instead of 7-inch records, they started making these maxi singles, these big 12-inch records that was like, you know, a disco mix on there. You had a whole instrumental,
Like 20
and you
minutes.
had a
Yeah.
20 minutes,
Yeah.
DJ
One
could
song is
put
20
it
minutes.
on and play it, right, for
That's it.
20 minutes, right?
Yep.
And so that was the thing, you could mix these songs and listen to these songs all day. And that was what it was. He had that position timing. And a lot of time, he explained this to us on an interview when he said a lot of time he didn't use his headphones. It
Wow.
was like
Just
you
drop.
just drop the needle
That's he
and
professional he was. That's where you know you
make,
mastered the game.
He
you
had
know
That's
what
he
why
I
he
had
was a
to
mean?
he
master
had to have been
flowers.
able to recognize the groove or something, like, you know what I'm saying?
Somebody
Like,
he knows it.
Flash called them needle drops, but I try to do needle drops. It's just like there's no way you can ever be accurate
yeah.
with
Wow.
a needle drop.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
You know
Kurt,
what I mean?
another question that I want to ask you. So through all this time growing up and you going, living in Harlem and you picking up everything, doing your kid stuff and everything. What about and we already talked about the black culture. What about the Latino culture as far as like where they was at? Wow, from a peripheral
Because
vision.
the narrative is
No,
real spooky, man.
it
It's
is.
been spooky.
We all know that
It's
Spanish people came together and it's a
horrible.
beautiful thing.
It,
But in the
Come
beginning,
it's
as
been
far
on,
spooky.
man.
It's been bad. It's been real bad, man.
And I have so many friends, Latinos. Man, listen, Puerto Ricans. I love you
Puerto
guys.
Rican.
Listen,
Yeah.
man. I grew up on Convent, which is right next to Amsterdam. Now, one block further is Broadway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Broadway is Dominican City. Always been. And before that, it was Puerto
Come
Rican.
on, listen. When I was in elementary school, there was a game called oh my gosh, what's it? The Savage
Yeah,
Nomads,
they got the
Yeah.
Savage
Yeah.
Moments. Yeah,
or
you heard
maybe
of all
the
buses,
the other one. There was a Savage Skulls,
tingling. Okay,
Oh
okay.
wow. Okay.
right? What one of them? They had a gang leader right there, 130. I went to school on 138th Street between Amsterdam and Broadway. So 137th Street was their territory,
Right.
the Savage Nomads.
Okay,
Their leader, his name was Jesus,
that's a good name
right?
for a leader.
Right.
Right?
Jesus.
Now, Jesus and my brother were friends in elementary school. They both were 3 years older than me.
Got it.
So in elementary school, during the civil rights movements, we had a lot of teachers who were really into doing plays and just going to movies, field trips, and all this
Mhm.
stuff. Affirmative action and all that. So uh, they did a play one time called West Side Story.
Mm.
My brother played Riff, and Jesus played Hernando.
Oh,
Bernard was that
yeah.
Bernardo,
Okay.
the leader of the
So
other
that's
gang.
the West Side Story with Maria and all of that. He's
Yeah.
out the
Yeah.
window with a
Right,
different gang.
right.
Okay,
It
okay.
was
Yep.
it was
The Spanish
it
and black
was
getting, or
Oh, the white.
whites
the whites and
whites
the
Yeah.
Italians.
against
Yeah.
Spanish,
Right,
right?
right, right. That's
Yep.
what it was.
Stick with your own kind. I remember all
Yeah.
the songs, the soundtracks, and all that. Man, it was incredible. But this movie was incredible, but it was, let's say, an analogy significant to what was going on in hip hop.
Yeah,
You know, because
definitely.
it was like that. You know, if you remember West Side Story at the dance, you know, had all the Puerto Ricans on one side, and
Right.
on the
And,
white
yeah.
side you had
Yeah,
all the blacks. And hip hop is in our neighborhood, all right,
yeah.
Okay.
blacks and Puerto Ricans. So that's what's a party, right?
Yeah.
Even a Cool Herc party, any kind of party, it was like Puerto Ricans, Dominicans on one side, and the blacks on the other side. And
So there
we
was that
meet
one
in
with
the
the courage.
middle.
It had to be
We
that
would
courage.
meet in the middle and have a
Hmm.
dance contest.
There you go. That's how you introduce
But
him. Yeah.
see, what the problem was that dance competition, that contest always ended up in a fight.
Okay.
Even it was the breakdancing, or they started the breakdancing because of it.
Nah, man, I mean, this was before breakdance. I'm
Okay.
talking about we was early breakdance. We
That's what I'm
was all
saying.
doing James Brown, actually,
Because the whole thing
basically.
about breakdancing later
You know.
on, it became to like unite. Like besides fighting, we could have a dance
Yeah,
off
but
and
when it first
really
started,
right.
it ended up in a fight.
Sure.
You know, this is why I never really supported battles and battle rapping
Yeah.
and just dissing each other and,
Respectful. Yeah.
disrespecting. I
Yeah.
mean, you know how we used to do with the battles and
But
throw it.
Kurt used to get on me when I first met him, and I'm
How
rapping.
far you make, Kirk?
What was it? 19.
Wow.
I think it was.
90,
I want. Yeah.
95,
No. I graduated in 95. We must have met around
95.
90. I think it was like 99 or 2000 that we met. It was before
before
Pun
the
died. It was
movie.
before Pun
Okay. So
died.
you okay?
Yeah.
So around that time. Okay.
So right, and
Right.
I remember I'm rapping my ass off for Kurt. I'm doing everything I can to impress his man. He's an icon, right?
Right. And when you met, like in a regular show,
So I no. I met him through someone else. Shout out to Kenny wherever you at.
personally. Okay, personally.
Yeah, and my boy was he's like, yo, I gotta sit down for a minute. I gotta go to Rikers. Here's a number to Kurtis Blow. Give him a call. It's just like that. And I'm like, bro, he's not Kurtis Blow's gonna pick up from me. Like, you stupid. He's like, listen, I'm gonna sit down for a while. I can't do anything. You're gonna call him because he was acting as my manager. So he's like, just call him. Yeah. So he
Oh.
said, just call Kurt every single day. He said, I don't care. One time a day. Leave a message. So I did that for like, I don't even know, maybe a week. But to be honest with you, after that, I was like, I'm not calling Kurt.
You was stalking a
now,
little bit.
yeah,
Okay.
now it's too much. So like 2, 3, maybe even 4 days later, Kurt calls me back.
There you
And he
go.
goes, hey, this is Kurt. What's up, man? And I'm like, yo, hey. He goes, hey, who is this? I tell him who I am. He goes, how'd you get my number? And I said, Kenny. And he goes, oh, right? Because I'm like, I didn't know that Kenny kind of, stalked him a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So then he goes, well, what do you do? And I was like, yeah, I rap, this, that, and third. And he goes, well, I've got a project that I need, writers for it.
Okay.
So I'll meet up with you. I'm gonna be he was like, I'm gonna be at the dry cleaners on a Wednesday at like 1:30. Meet me there. Yeah. I remember I was even working at the time. I was doing delivery, but I was doing deliveries in the Bronx.
Right.
So I made sure I didn't care if I was supposed to be at this shop dropping off paint. I'm gonna be over here. And I met up with him and we chopped it up. You didn't even have a ride. You were just like, oh, good. I'm glad you came because you're going to be my ride. Drive me home. And in there, I played my demo tape. And, the rest pretty much was history behind that. And then I started to ghostwrite for some of the, songs that you had on the project.
That was Kirk the hustler right there. He
You know what I'm saying?
He knew he needed a ride. He
said,
said, let me just entertain. I need a ride.
I need a rider.
Well,
I
you
don't got to
heard
pay much. I got a free ride.
Yeah.
But you know what? The experience is really
Of
what it
course.
was all about. You know what I'm saying? And then that's how we linked up and we started doing our thing. But like, let me get back to this thing that we're dealing with, right? With the Latinos and hip hop, right? You're saying in the beginning for you seen a lot of Puerto Ricans and I'm sure other cultures.
Right.
And this is predating what's considered the birth of hip hop. So in your whole life, you've
Yep.
been dealing with Latinos. So
Come on.
So then, why is it, in your opinion, and just in your opinion, why is the narrative now being painted as if Puerto Ricans were never there, and not
Oh
just
my
were we
God.
not there.
That's a little harsh, though.
No, it's not hard. It's the reality.
No, I know, but I think that they even know they're lying to themselves.
But
Like they know the Latinos.
Yo, listen,
Yeah,
listen.
yeah,
I want to say this,
that's fine.
Latinos, Latinas have been a part of hip hop since its beginning.
It was definitely. I believe that.
And the reason is because hip hop is for everyone. It was created by God, and
Especially by
God
the
gave
street.
it to everybody. Like, if you like music,
yeah,
Yeah.
right?
yeah.
If you like music, that's it. You like hip hop.
And you got to check also the streets of the population who was there in Harlem, in the Bronx. It was black
It
and
was
brown over there.
created because we
It was
love
there.
music. We love the sounds. We love the patterns. We love the styles. It doesn't matter what style of music it is. If it has a funky beat and it's something that makes you bob your head, then that's hip hop. And you are hip hop. If you like that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay, now we have to dance to that music. All right.
So
Latinos were there from the beginning
yeah,
of that dance. I just told you the story of my brother
Hmm.
right.
and Jesus. Shout out to Jesus. That's
Word
my
up.
buddy right there.
One
You
time for
know,
Jesus, wherever you at. You know what I'm
you
saying?
know, they were dancing in these competitions.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna say, like West Side Story, they had the competition in the beginning, the blacks were kind of like they had the footwork, James Brown, you know what I mean?
Right. Of course.
And that's why we get
So
into
they
it, though.
they
The
were doing
creation part
something
of it.
Yeah.
like
Because they was
I,
there from
I
the
would say
beginning.
different. It was different,
Hmm.
but then after the years went by, the Latinos they started perfecting that style
Spot on.
Yeah.
and adding more power to the power that was there already. All right, we got the footwork, we have the up rock, we have the top rock, and that was all gang moves, throwing stuff in your face and shooting you,
Right.
as
Hmm.
a gang, going back and forth with the top rock.
Yeah.
But the footwork was all there. That was James Brown with the fancy footwork, doing the two step or whatever. Uh, 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 and that was it. But when you talk about, we had the backdrops, the backflips, and of course, you got that curly Neil. I know you seen that with the Three Stooges with him
All
going
that stuff
around like
hurts.
a clock,
Yeah.
All that
right?
stuff was painful, Kurt. That's why I didn't break dance. That shit hurt.
I mean, I used to backspin. I
It
did
hurt.
And it
headspin,
got your
It
but
hurt.
clothes dirty
oh,
too. So if you
It
if you a fly guy talking, you
Yeah.
couldn't go down and get your suit all dirty like that.
mm.
But
Right.
anything as you got older, you
Yeah.
don't want to get
Can't
your
break your
clothes
hip
dirty,
and dirty your suit at the same time.
At the end of the
right?
day, it's the unity, though. It's the unity that made hip hop expand the way it did, and
Yep.
the welcoming of the black culture
The
to
unity.
other
That
ethnics.
love, that
Yes.
love that we have for each other.
Yeah, that's it. That was
But
You
it.
now
know,
but now there's a division.
It's not a division, man. It's just certain people got certain things of actually pinpointing their accomplishments, like the creation of hip hop, as far as like the black culture, the James Brown being the music being like the first thing that leads to black culture being the dominant, creation of it. So I think Latinos was the first students of them.
Hmm.
That was right there with them, but like Latinos, we got our own culture, like they said.
But
You know,
saying
it's,
the
yeah, you got
same
salsa music,
yeah,
man.
we
I
yeah,
got
got
I
that.
got
but
my friend with the guy down there with the Cuban refugees who
Yeah,
shouted salsa. I got a friend who lives down in D.C. He's one of those refugees that
okay.
he's a legend too. We did a song together. Oh my gosh, I forget his name.
he's a
But
refugee. I'm a refugee
I
too. I
just
came in
I just
1980. He
I
came in
just
1980. He
yeah.
probably did.
I just feel
you
that the
know,
dangerous rhetoric that's going on is the fact is that they're saying is that not only that Latinos were not there during the creation of hip hop, we had and still continue to have no influence on the culture. There's no
mm,
form of innovation that we brought to the table. It's been nothing. It's just straight
oh my
visitors.
gosh.
and we, we're talking with
Go.
people that are supposed to be prominent
Mama,
legends,
go.
And they don't
prominent
know their
legends in hip
own
hop.
history.
Yeah.
They couldn't say that. They couldn't say that if they knew this one name. If they saw this one guy DJ, and his name was Junebug.
Junebug. I heard of that.
Junebug.
I heard of Junebug.
Junebug was the DJ for DJ Hollywood,
Okay. Yep.
Wow.
right?
Yep. That's what I heard of him and Junebug. That
Now,
was
now, 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 listen. He
it's understood.
also got a job at Disco Fever. He was the house DJ at Disco Fever, playing Friday, Saturdays, nights.
Mm,
And sometimes he would have to go off and do shows for Hollywood. They're one hitters that they
right.
used to do all the time. And but Junebug was the best DJ I ever saw.
Wow.
Now, I have studied every DJ who had a name in New York during that time of, I'd say, 72 to about a good 1980, right? And every name. I have not seen faster. Okay, maybe Flash was really, really kind of fast too. But I'm talking about accurate,
But he was an elite DJ in your
fast
eyes.
and accurate.
Mm,
He was
You know
under
what I
DJ
mean?
Hollywood though.
A lot of DJs are fast, but then they go bam, 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 and it just sounds like they're practicing. That's what I call it
right.
because it's not accurate. It's not on beat.
Right, the on-beat
You know what I
parts.
Now,
mean?
you,
It's
Better
like
be
you made
bam, bam, bam,
so
bam,
Cuban just made
bam,
a
bam,
point.
bam,
You,
bam, bam, bam.
Blammy, good.
so
You know what I'm saying? It's gotta be
You
on
know,
beat.
so you are you?
listen,
Yeah, go ahead.
listen. Junebug was excellent. He was the best I ever saw do it. Just the routines that he used to do with Hollywood put him in a category. He was the top of the line for the MCs who were out during that time. And I'm talking about all of them.
He was in
And
prime
that
time. He
was
was in
Eddie
prime time.
Chiba, Love Bug. We're talking the Furious Five, the Funky Four, the Treacherous Three, you name them, they all were there. At least 50 MCs during that time.
Yeah.
Hollywood and Junebug were the best,
And they
top of
they
the
are
line.
during the
Was
I
disco
heard that
era,
too.
correct? Though, am I correct? It's pretty.
they're doing during the times of, I would say, 1976 to 80 to
Okay.
79.
And let me correct myself because I said DJ Disco and all of that. It was DJ Hollywood I meant with the rest of the DJs. He was like the one that was actually doing the big kind of clubs that are
Right.
with dressed up
Yeah.
clubs
Yeah.
and people that with money and all of that.
Super
And
gangsters.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then
Right,
the rest was doing
exactly.
like hood stuff and all that. I was separating them, so he didn't get enough praise as he should have, DJ Hollywood, for actually doing the MC thing and the DJ
Yeah.
thing to the next level. Because he was prime time. He was definitely
Hollywood
prime
Yeah.
time.
was accredited for being the first DJ to get, was it $500 to spend?
Yeah, yeah. That was correct. Every DJ used to like, $30, $50.
See,
You would
now
making
the
a
point that I'm trying to
a
make is he
hundred
was the,
dollars. $100 is
yeah,
a good
was the good, yeah,
150.
He was chasing that
That's a
bag.
he
You
was
top of
can't
the
blame him.
line.
yeah.
The only thing
Hollywood.
I heard though, he was like separated, like he wouldn't let nobody in that crowd with him. Like he was
Yeah.
very like a gatekeeper to like from the streets to the actual commercial clubs that was really making money. So he was
Yeah, he
being like a
formed. He formed his own crew.
hmm
Uh, it was him, Eddie Chiba, and Love Bug.
Wow. Rest in
And
peace, Eddie Cuban and
if
Love
you
Bug.
didn't have one of those guys on your flyer,
Yeah.
you had no party.
Man, one
yeah.
time for my man
And the
DJ
Hollywood
Hollywood
crew, the Hollywood crew.
for forming the first hip hop monopoly.
Yeah.
DJ.
First
That it was.
hip hop
That it was.
mafia.
Now I'll tell you, Flash was very. He was on the same level. I would say he had the same popularity later on. I'm saying after, I would say, 78,
Wow.
79, Flash was just as hot. When you put Flash's name on the flyer, everyone would come out just to see the speed on the turntables, because nobody was doing that like that. Like, it was focused on just a part of the presentation where the DJ, you put a spotlight on the DJ and he's going back and forth on one
Yeah.
turntable to the other. You know, you just didn't see that. That was the first
So
time Flash did that,
78.
and that was a highlight of the night. So everyone started coming out, and then you had Cowboy, you had Melly
Ah,
Mel, Grandmaster Melly
yeah,
Mel, who
yeah.
Can we
became the
say
rapper's rapper. He could rap for 2 hours straight. You know what I mean?
Really?
So he was
Wow.
incredible
so?
too.
Can we
So
say that the Grandmaster Flowers is the first master that everybody got their master name from
All
after
right.
that? Can we say that?
Flowers, for sure.
Yeah. So
I
he's
heard
the
the
first master.
story. Oh, I don't want to say
So
this story.
master, all of the
I'm
rest of the
gonna
masters comes after him. So
I heard they had a battle for the
Who?
name.
Grandmaster Flowers? Oh, really? And Flash?
there's a lot of masters
Well,
back then,
damn.
but master
Flowers
was,
had to have been a bad one if he lost to Flash then. But I mean, they both came away, so they must have both won.
well, it was Bronx,
I'm not going
Brooklyn.
to say what I know,
You gotta say,
what I
come on,
heard.
Curtis.
I'm not going to say what I heard. You got to ask that story for somebody else will tell
Ain't
you.
nobody
I mean,
left. No, ain't nobody left.
we
You're
gonna
the
have
only
to,
one left.
we gonna
Come
get, we
on.
gotta try to get Flash up here, and I don't think he's gonna say the story that he lost.
Yeah, that's they're not gonna say they lost.
I think we already know
Oh man,
without having it to be said.
I don't really know. No, I want to know for real documentation. I want to know.
Yeah, that would be
Nah,
nice.
And you was
Flash
there?
is
Flowers
an
is gone. May
incredible
rest in peace.
DJ. I owe him so much. He gave me a break. Actually, Flash was DJing for me
Mm.
when J.B. Moore and Robert Ford Jr., who were
Yeah.
two writers from Billboard magazine, and they partnered up to invest into a hip hop single right after Rappers Delight, and that single was Christmas Rap.
Yes.
So Flash was DJing. We were at the Hotel Diplomat. Remember I was telling you about Midtown Manhattan
Yes.
and
Yes.
all those Midtown. The Diplomat was a hotel on 43rd Street on the east side, and it was a hotel. It held about, I don't know, about 1,000 people in the big ballroom, the grand
Damn.
ballroom.
Mhm.
Okay.
And we used to have 1,000 people in there and 3,000 people outside that couldn't get in. Right, all of New
What?
York knew about the Dip.
See,
The Dip
Manhattan,
was a
like
hot
Harlem,
spot.
Manhattan had
Oh
a
my
whole like different
gosh!
perks. It
Yeah.
had
Come
different
on.
perks in the Bronx. The Bronx was burnt down at the
Yeah,
time.
and it was
It was
central.
really like
Everyone would come
Manhattan.
from,
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
Manhattan was big.
everyone would come from Brooklyn,
That was
from
the big time.
Queens, from Jersey,
Yeah.
Connecticut,
Yeah,
Bronx, everywhere. They would come to Midtown Manhattan. That was the center of New York,
yeah, it
What
the
a
was
center
time.
of the world,
the world.
right?
What a
The world.
time,
Right.
Kurt, for you to see, those big
Oh
flashy
my God.
flashy lights mean something. The Renaissance time of Harlem. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The
Right.
with the Apollo before the renovation. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
but you got you
Like
got,
Right.
you got Curtis, like when he started his career and all of that. That's a handsome,
part
man.
of yeah.
Besides, I'm talking about as far as like, they got
Yeah, I
MCs and
got
all
you.
that, and some dudes are just regular, like, green eyes over here, hazel guy, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Light skin, you know what I'm saying? Got the ladies. He's talking about, with rule the world. So his image, as far as like, where Kirk took
Yeah.
it, he took it globally, you know what I'm saying, with his
Yeah.
looks, with his talent, and no gay stuff here,
Yeah,
no
nah,
pause.
nah.
I'm just, what I'm saying, after you get to an age, you can give a man the credit of being a handsome individual, you know what I'm saying? He's a stud,
Yeah.
man. He's a real stud, like, you know what I'm saying? He's
Yeah.
a gangster
Yeah.
in that way, you know what I'm saying? Because all my life, I've been always like, like even like industry people. Oh, he's the pretty boy. And we get categorized on that. Like, we don't see ourselves like that. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I'm a regular dude,
Just
but
want to be fly.
at the end of the day, I know mama
Yeah.
and daddy. Shit, they made a handsome boy. We know that. So, how you felt about that now later on, just reflecting back as far as you being in the industry and you being, you know what I'm saying, a hot item, hot ticket, whatever for the young ladies, how you dealt with that? Besides doing that
Oh
song.
man, I tell you, it's like a dream world,
Mm-hmm.
just to, wow, here I come from Harlem, the ghetto. We
Mm-hmm.
were on welfare. I know
Yeah.
about the
Amen.
cheese and not putting it in the refrigerator
The
because it's
block
going to get
cheese,
so hard,
the powdered milk, the
it'll break a
kaboom, the
window if you
cereals.
throw it out a window. You know what I mean?
We know that.
Kill
And that
somebody.
peanut butter too. Oh my
Oh
gosh.
man, yeah.
And so just being able to take flights and go to places like
Yeah.
London and Paris, the Eiffel Tower, and
Oh, you went there. See, I'm
Tokyo,
still an
and
immigrant. I can't travel too far like that.
oh my
Yeah.
gosh,
I went to 50 states though. And I went to Amsterdam
just
too, the red
just
district.
yeah, Amsterdam, the red light, and all that, just seeing
Red
the world.
light.
It was just a dream world,
Yeah.
And so my first trip was Debbie Harry had paid for me to come over to the UK,
Okay.
UK was a big supporter of
and
hip hop.
I was excited. I was like, Debbie Harry, whoa, whoa, whoa. And she wanted to do some pressings of the stuff because, she wanted to attach herself to hip hop and just explain to the UK what this thing hip hop is, right? So she flew me out. I got out there. This is the first time I'm going over into international. Oh my gosh, first international flight.
Wow.
I get off
And
a
you bought,
plane. I get off the plane. And
and
it
you see
was
the
like,
people, right? You see the colored people like us, like as far as
no,
and
she
they
had it set up. She
who?
had cameras everywhere. She had
Like
a
a press
whole, it
conference.
must have been about 10 cameras. This is Debbie Harry.
Mm-hmm.
Come on. So she got it hooked up, right?
Wow.
She's Saturday Night Live, right? This is Debbie Harry.
You
So
walked
she
in.
had it all set up, hooked up with the cameras and everything. I'm walking down the stairs,
The
the
press.
cameras are flashing, the
Oh
press
yeah.
is,
Wow.
Yeah,
the
they got
cameras,
apps for
and
that
I'm like,
already.
oh my
The
God.
paparazzi. The
Yeah.
Oh
paparazzi.
my God.
Yeah.
That's when you knew
That
you was a
feeling
star
right
right there.
there?
Yeah. You must
Jesus.
have been like,
I used
Could
to be
you
scared of hell. Like I used to
could
be.
you imagine that feeling right
I
there?
got it. I remember. I walked
yeah.
that red carpet, and, at VMAs and all of that with with the cameras and the.
No, no, but dig this, dig this.
Yeah, you're in a different
So
country doing this. It's different.
she's standing at the end of the camera line, right? So I
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
get up close to her. It's like a red carpet almost,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
So she comes up to shake my hand. She said, "Wait, this is Kurtis Blow?"
Who was she expecting?
What the hell was that? Yeah,
She
what
said, I
happened?
thought you were taller. Like, what?
I
What?
think she was playing with you, right? She was just playing with you. She was trying to get you back down to earth.
She was what? She was disappointed. You
Oh,
Oh,
know.
oh,
So you know what I did?
she cracked your heart then.
you turned around and
I
got back
I
on that plane.
no, 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 no. I said,
Why she
okay,
said that
okay.
though?
Because look, my drill was cracked, or I don't know.
You had herpes on your lip. Don't try to tell me.
No,
He said my grill was cracked up, yo.
Oh, Curtis came with the herpes lip. You talking
no,
about?
I don't know. No, I had a little short afro PZ head,
Holy.
right?
Oh,
All the looks in the world can help you with
I
that.
was a little short guy. I was only 5'8".
yeah,
Yeah, that's the
yeah.
same as me. I'm 5'8".
So I went back home and I got with my girlfriend. I
Damn,
said,
you
look,
broke
Hey, I
your.
need you to fix my
I
teeth.
want to,
Oh,
I want to change my image.
and that's
So I
and that's
went.
what the
That is that. Hold on, is that when you start getting the activator?
that's a I rule the
No, no,
world.
no, no. Activator came.
No, but
No,
that's
no,
with
no.
the hit already. I rule the
At
world and
I
least
everything.
4
bet.
years. That was
You already
3
had a hit
years
on the
later.
radio already with the I rule the world already, right? That's when
Nah,
you.
nah. I went to the
Christmas trap.
dentist and
Yeah,
got my
Okay, the
teeth
Christmas. Okay.
fixed. Right,
yeah.
a new grill.
Oh, you was
I went
twisted. I didn't
and
know. See, I didn't know the
I went
twisted
and
bro.
got me a hot comb.
Oh,
And I
Going back
got a
to
hot comb. Right,
you
I
went back to
you
blew
went to
out
Malcolm
those.
X.
red. You went back to red.
Right, right.
You went back to
No,
red.
no, I didn't. I know. I just
You got
took
the
the
conk.
naps out of it and
Okay,
blew it into an afro.
Okay,
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 okay.
okay.
I had a
The
full
Afro
afro
position.
Yeah,
like Jimmy Castor,
What
right?
time?
yeah,
This is the '80s, right? This is the '80s.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. This is early '80s,
Okay.
'81,
So
right?
you
Oh,
you
okay.
you got your
The
swag
shape up an
together.
afro. That
And
shape up an
then
afro was
Yeah.
in.
last thing, I got me some boots.
Not the
Not the
boots.
Timbs though.
Not the boots.
You didn't get the Space
There were
Jam
no
boots, did
Tims
you?
then. There were no Tims
You
then.
didn't.
No,
You didn't get the planet rock
cowboy
boots, did you?
boots were in during that
Tell me you
time.
got the planet rock.
Cowboys, cowboy boots were in during that time.
Yeah, the
All the
cowboy. Yeah,
girls,
there was.
cowboy
There
No.
was.
had
There was.
too.
I remember
Yeah,
those.
yeah, yeah.
I
Damn.
remember
I
those.
had a song called "Way Out West."
Hold up. So y'all
I did
got an
on
afro,
that
new
first
teeth, and
album.
cowboy boots.
Yeah. Now back in the days, it was cowboy boots popping.
That's
I remember.
crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
yeah.
but the mustache, was the mustache born yet?
And I got the gold teeth. Just went to the
Yeah.
barber every week, got it lined up, and
Yeah.
just
Yeah, but the image I got
became
was when
this.
he did, saying, if I rule the world.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
know what I'm
yeah,
saying? When
yeah.
I seen that one, I was like, yo, it's smooth, you know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
was a kid,
Got
but
the
I
female
was like this,
backup
it was
dancers.
like a clean image and,
Right,
and,
right,
and,
right.
smooth, got the girls around
Yeah.
him, and he's just representing hip
Right,
hop,
Yeah.
with that song. But yeah, no, I
right.
didn't know about
So
the
it became my mission to be, I don't know, I wouldn't say sex symbol, but I
But
guess
at
it
least,
was.
yeah,
well,
maintain
Yeah.
clean and
You know.
looking good, feeling good.
yeah, I didn't know about the
So
busted
that
I
bro.
that's
know,
that's
yeah.
when all
Uh,
those
With the teeth and
yeah, I did not know
I
that.
didn't know about that.
Did not know.
I
No,
became what they used to call me eye candy.
yeah, no, that's the thing.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
definitely a turn in the history books
yeah. You're doing
when
it.
you put the hairspray on the mustache
Yeah,
and the
doing it, man.
Yeah,
Curtis.
but the Jerry Curl came later on, like a whole year and a half, 2 years later,
Yeah.
I
and I
think he
got that
inspired. He
from
probably
Larry
inspired the whole
Smith.
West Coast. The West Coast was
Larry
Jerry Curl.
Smith.
I think it was Kurtis Blow who inspired that.
Yeah, for real.
The whole West Coast was straight out of
I
Compton.
know Ice Cube
Ice
can't say
Cube.
Ice Cube cannot say that he didn't get inspired by you.
Now,
Like they just know
Kurt
it.
was the first one, probably with the
Easy
activator.
E, all that.
Before
Yeah. Soul Glow. Yeah, yeah. I used to say all the
Soul
time.
Glow.
Yep.
Well, I got it from Larry Smith,
Wow,
my
okay.
bass player. He was the
Okay.
bass player and band leader. Rest in peace. He played
Really?
bass
Damn.
on the Christmas rap
Yeah.
on the breaks. If I rule the world, he was on
Yeah.
all my. He produced Run DMC and Houdini. That
Wow.
was Larry Smith.
And one
So
thing
he
too,
was.
you can't take it away from Kurt. Like he was the one to make mega hits,
I
like
mean, he was the first. He was the first.
anthems. The Christmas. He got these are the breaks. You got the
Don't forget.
rule the world. So these are not regular songs, guys. Like,
First,
this
first
is,
rapper to get an endorsement deal.
of course, no. He went. That's what I'm saying.
Sprite. Yeah.
That's why I'm giving him.
Yeah.
He did the actual the blueprint of the business and their music together.
Yeah.
So that's why he was able to,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? And that's definitely should be a
This is
blueprint.
the first hip hop icon.
Of course. No, of course.
Well,
You know what I'm saying?
100%.
Who's bigger than you in the history of hip? I mean, you got
And
credibility, but I'm talking about
Crush
as far
Groovin',
as the status.
Their movies, Crush Groove. Remember that?
You know what I'm saying? Like who?
initially, I don't think there was, but I
Yeah.
tell you, after that, I
Uh,
did open the door. I did my job.
Open that
Of
door.
course you
I
did.
opened the door so other guys could come after me and be even more successful.
Which
And
they
But the
did.
door you,
They did.
I
the
don't.
door you.
I want to say to them, I don't want you guys to think I am jealous or uh,
I don't think
Not
that's
me knowing
I
you, I know that
that's
that's
not
not it.
everything that's
envious
coming off.
Yeah.
envious of you because I live through you. I'm actually proud
Yeah.
and
I can see that from you.
so honestly happy
And a lot of people
that you
get that
guys are
confused.
successful. You know why? Because
Yeah.
God created this thing. I believe
Yeah.
that God gave me all this talent, all this success, all
And he did.
these miracle
Accolades.
blessings,
Yeah.
And he did.
and I gave them to y'all. I did my job. I was
Un-
supposed to do
yeah.
that.
And that's
Open the door,
Unselfishly.
that humility comes
you
from
know?
Yeah, we
So
got
I
one
don't
humility.
feel
time
bad
on that.
about that. I don't have to be rich or 100
Well,
mil.
one thing it gets confusing with, and between us being like, like, pre, the guys that set a kind of trend like yourself, like, you blew the door open for hip hop to even take greater, you know what I'm saying, things to happen to
That
it.
part.
But the appreciation bothers me too, because I come
Uh,
to that part of my life with the appreciation, like, when you did certain things and you did it with the humility. Of course, you want the people to come through the same door that you did, and make way for the next generation and the next, and keep it going, pass that baton like it's supposed to be. And you could have did it with sincere feelings of just nothing. This is just something I love. God made me do this. I have my time, but then you open that door and it's like they forget you. They forget that. Certain people do. The appreciation is very important.
Yeah.
To me, I speak personally as an MC, as a person who writes my own lyrics, and I, have my way inside of hip hop. But for you,
Right.
I'm sure you got the appreciation, but still, because I don't see those red carpets anymore for people like you, and which we should all have. You know what I'm saying? The history of hip hop should definitely, you should be decorated. Even though the rewards probably came while you was there, but even afterwards, you did something that that should be merited and saluted. You know what I'm saying, through the time through hip hop. You know, he was one of those,
Well, I hear you.
and that's
I hear you, and I thank you for saying that. But I tell you, this is why God is so very important in our lives, because it's times like this there, I can refer back to the Bible, where the
yeah.
Bible says, "Store your treasures up in heaven."
Mm.
You know, don't worry about what you eat or drink or what's happening over here on this earth. You know, what if you make all the money in the world and you lose your soul?
Yeah, 100%.
You know,
Yeah.
We've seen that
so
story happen. It's
Yeah.
happening.
don't worry about you know other people and what they got and what you don't have. You store your treasure. You make sure you do the right thing and help people and keep your faith in doing God's work. And that's when you will store your treasures up in heaven. And you'll see. And you'll see. Because
Definitely.
you can't take that money with you.
I follow that
That's
saying.
a fact.
I follow that. I follow
So
that.
so real quick. Once before you got signed, what led up to you being able to get a deal?
Oh, that's beautiful. There's a whole big story about that. Um, but it was basically like I told you a story about me at the Diplomat and doing that gig with Grandmaster Flash, and we did so well. Eddie Chiba was also on the show.
Rest in
Eddie
peace.
Chiba, Love Bug, and myself. I'm a Grandmaster Flash and myself. I was his MC. Melly Mel didn't show up that day.
Okay.
And so there were two writers from Billboard magazine who came down. They wanted to partner up and do a song, a Christmas rap song, and they chose me out of the crew. Russell had invited them down. They were looking. He tells the story. I'm hearing about this about a few years earlier, that he set it up for Eddie Chiba to get the record deal.
Wow.
But I came down and Flash and I did so well that night that they decided to use me. So
Shock the
um,
world. You messed up their
uh,
plans there because
that was a blessing, and I'd say, but during that time, I was the number one DJ in Harlem. I was playing. I was a house DJ at Small's Paradise. I wouldn't say in Harlem. Hollywood was number one, but I was a hot DJ during that time. I was the house DJ at Small's Paradise, which was the hottest club in Harlem during that time. They had all the shows. I met Earth, Wind, and Fire, and
Wow.
the Supremes were there,
Yeah.
Temptations were there, everywhere. I mean, Luther Vandross, all these people came and did shows at Small's Paradise, right?
Yeah.
And I was the house DJ, so I would get their music and work with them and everything, and play music in between the sets and everything.
Right.
And that was my job. And I got that job from Charles Huggins, who owned a club called Charles Gallery on 125th Street. That's where I first started rapping when I was in college. Not rapping, but I would say MCing. After Wham Wave, this was 76 in the club.
Okay.
And so I was emceeing there with Eddie Chiba. That was his night. He had Wild Wednesdays, lying around the corner. And I'm very, very hot. And they just gave me the mic one, and I spit a rhyme
you
on
wrote
the
the
mic,
occasion.
and everybody loved it. And so
And even
they
from the
asked me to
beginning,
come back. I used to come back on Tuesdays. I was working on Tuesdays at Charles Gallery, but Charles Gallery burnt down.
Wow.
So Charles Huggins and his wife, dig the name, Melba Moore, moved. They bought they bought Small's Paradise on 135th Street.
Wow.
And they asked me to come there with them. All right, we want you to be our house DJ playing Fridays and Saturdays and Sundays, and anytime we have a show, we want you to be the DJ. Okay, so I that's how I got the job. And from there, that's when the writers of Billboard magazine, they did a story on this street culture called hip hop or rap. And Robert Ford did the interview, and he included me in the interview. And I told him the story. I'm a college student, working hard, trying to get a career going here in communications, and this is my thing, And so he included me, young college student. After he talked about who Kool Herc and Hollywood and Eddie Cheever, Reggie Wells, and all these people, he did the story of the MCs, and he included a young college student, Curtis Walker, in the article, and that was Robert Ford. And so Rocky came, we call him Rocky, he came down to the Diplomat to do a song because he, of course, after following up from the article he wrote, he wanted to invest. Well, Rapids Delight had dropped. Boom, right?
Mm-hmm.
You
This
saw
is
the writing on the
crazy,
wall.
Yeah, that was definitely a
right?
different level.
And so he came to, he said, oh man, this is going to be something, this rap thing, right? So he wanted to make the Christmas rap. And I told you that story. So that's how I got the deal. But it was on the heels, I would say, a couple of people, Melba Moore.
Okay.
Thank you very much for giving me a job at Small's Paradise and supporting me, Charles Huggins, all these years. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Also, Robert Ford and Jr. and J.B. Moore for choosing me to produce my first 5 albums on a major label, Mercury Polygram Records. And
It's good when you have the
also, you
backing of
got to,
somebody like that. Right? You got the business backing of those kind of companies, and they believe in you so much. Look how beautiful things happen.
Yeah.
You could talk
right,
great about these companies nowadays. A lot of
right,
people,
Yeah.
they don't feel the same way
right,
with the relationship between the artist and the actual company. But back then,
right,
we could see like the artistry and the way y'all just dealt with each other, even through Crush Groove and the movies and just that hip hop. The first stages of that. It was like innocent, but everybody was working together for the same goal, and that was
there
the
was
beautiful thing.
unity.
Yeah, that unity was special. I seen it. That's why hip hop went as far as it did, because that was always the ingredients. So I appreciate definitely, man. Curtis Blow is a legend in my
Man,
Yeah.
book.
appreciate you, Kurt. I know you got things to do.
Yeah.
Before this, I'm gonna edit this right now. Before you leave, I know you had spoken to me about Chuck D having maybe a slide or something.
Ah, yes.
So
Yes.
yes,
Well, we have the Hip Hop Alliance. I got to shout them out.
of
That's
course.
it. That is our labor force organization where we out there on a mission trying to protect and fight for and secure fair royalties, fair
Yes.
wages, and strong
That's
health and
dope.
retirement benefits for all of the hip hop ecosystem, y'all.
That's what I'm liking
And
here.
Chuck D is our president. We have KRS-One. He's our chairman.
There you go.
We have a brand new vice president. His name is Chuck Rock.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Thank you,
And
thank you. When
also
when
shout
I
out
bumped in the
to
scenes with the
Mr.
beans in my pocket full of green. Crazy. Yeah,
yeah.
And
that's the
shout
man.
out to Mr. Bob Lee, who is also our chairman emeritus.
Shout
Now,
to
now,
Bobby.
now, um, speaking about Chuck D, and he has a whole project, a new app called Bring the Noise
Okay.
that we are featured on as well. And also he has the Rap Station. Now, Rap Station has its own TV station and podcast system and radio station system as well. And we are talking about doing a Hip Hop Alliance TV podcast. And I wanted to talk to you guys about bringing you on board and letting you run it for us.
Oh
We
man,
would
I'm
love
All
to.
right.
stay positive for that,
Yes.
man. I'm down. You know
I
that.
am super there, my brother.
I've
You
been
already know.
I've been trying to preach that. Yo, let's do another like same gang, another self destruction. Like I got a song that's called,
Is it? Hold on. Just when you say that, remember we had that conversation at Hip Hop Alliance where KRS-One was saying they were going to do another
Yep.
self-destruction.
I got some.
Yep. Yep.
I got I got
You
I
know
got
what I'm
Yep. So
song.
we're
saying?
I got
just
a
talking
song
about,
that fits perfectly in there, and it's amazing. It's like a Christmas story, also like a Christmas song, like all of that
ah,
together.
Wow.
We wanna, the whole idea is of us teaching the new generations the actual traditions and the elements of hip
yeah,
hop for real.
Yes.
The
Yes.
positive ones,
that's
right?
it.
And just bringing,
Each one teach one.
that's what it
Right.
is, and it's about that, and making it funny, of course, for the people, and making it, Make it legendary, man. Legendary, because we got legendary, materials and archives that we're missing right now. That too much, and that's what happens when corporations take over. Though that money rules, and the actual love and God get lost in there. So we got to bring that back. God, the love, and everything else in hip hop.
Yeah, absolutely. So how can we get the ball rolling as far as that's concerned?
No problem. I'll connect the dots with you right away.
Okay,
Exchange you his number and vice versa to him. He already knows about it. He said, "Great,"
Yeah,
so he's ready to talk.
Chuck D's one
So
of those too.
we just gotta connect the dots. No problem.
Facts, man. Appreciate you, man. Let's
All
not
right.
take too much more of your time. I know you got your family stuff, and man, let me tell you. And listen, it is very warming to me to see you continuing to recover, brother. You are a living testimony. I know you for so long, so you know what I'm saying. It's just you continue to inspire, bro. You really do. I'm in the listen. I watch you from afar, and you always help me get out of bed. I mean it. I really do. You help me to
All
continue to
right.
push
Well,
and
thank you,
Oh,
man.
man, that's what's and a pleasure over here,
All
my
right.
brother. I mean, I seen you in places. I think we met in the Apollo, and of course, I fan out. When I see some of my heroes from back in the days,
Right.
I'm a big, hip hop buff, so I know all the legends. I know all, I was just that little immigrant kid that didn't know English, and hip hop helped me, learn my English and of course, do what I do later on in life and become part of it. But I commend people like you that inspired me, and I give the credit where credit's due. There wouldn't be no Cuban link as far as the MC. The values I put into this game as far as I've been, and the message I try to relate to the people, to my fans, and even if it's negative at times, because we come from that, but they know when it's when it's real, and you was definitely one of my teachers from back in the days, man.
All
I
right.
appreciate you, my brother, and the best of health, wealth, and everything else. God's first, and we already know that. And
Thank you.
let me trim your mustache next to me. I'll give you a shape up. We can get that Burt Reynolds mustache, shape that up.
Yeah.
But we good. We still good. And you still that pretty boy, handsome man. My brother, man, Kurtis Blow.
Ew. Love you, Kurt, man.
Yes,
All
sir.
right, y'all.
All right,
No
my
problem.
brother.
No problem. And Latinas and Latinos, I love you guys.
That's
You
right.
heard?
Wepa.
Right.
I love you.
Black
You were
and brown,
there
no
from
doubt.
the beginning.
Facts.
And let's take it further in the
right.
future, y'all, because this is a big market out there with the reggaeton and Afro beats. I'm talking to my people over in Colombia and Medellin out there, man. Let's do it. Let's keep it moving, all
Está
right?
tratando, para los latinos que me están escuchando, está tratando de hablar español, pero the ton and all that, no, el ton, cojones. Curtis, reggaeton. Not reggaeton.
Reggaeton.
There you
No
go.
bonton chips. Reggaeton. Latinos. But you hang out with
All right.
Cuban, I'll perfect that accent for you.
Yo.
It's all love.
I got you. Thank you.
My brother.
All
You
love,
already know,
man.
man. Salute.
All right,
So,
y'all.
so what
God
I'm
bless you all.
what
God
I'm
bless. God bless. And God bless again. I
See-
love you all, and there's nothing you could do about it.
man, wow. One time, horns and all that.
That was incredible. Incredible. Look
Kurtis
at this, man.
Blow,
Look at this
man.
beautiful world we live in, man. Ain't nothing like America.
Yo, dead ass. Dead ass.
Ain't nothing like America.
Kurtis Blow off the books.
Kurtis Blow.
Stories I know that he's never told as well.
Nah, he's a definitely an inspiring individual.
Yeah.
I could see he still got that glow. You know what I'm saying? He got that glow. Whether I know God is giving it to him, but as far as like, as an MC, when he first started, that I remember him watching him on Cross Groove and listening to These Are the Breaks and, We Rule the World.
Crush
Christmas,
Grooves.
the Christmas song. It's Crush Groove, my shot. I remember that.
Wow.
So, it's a lot to take right there as far as like one person to be embodied in one person, all the achievements he made throughout the years and the importance of his, emergence at that time.
Yeah.
Because like I said, he was a regular. He was one of those that took that baton and moved the bar.
Yeah.
He set the bar. So salute to Kurtis Blow, man.
Right,
Pleasure having him here.
In my life, right? It was outstandingly amazing because I get to meet you guys.
Okay,
right?
stop.
No,
Make me blush.
hold
I
on.
will drop kick you.
The pink.
I'm not nowhere near even
I don't
that.
think you will drop kick. You will hurt yourself.
I will hurt myself,
You
but you still have a footprint in the head. I'll do a Chung Lee from here backwards. I would definitely get carried out to the hospital.
Slippers will break halfway,
and it won't hurt you as much. I think you will fuck me up after that.
So, yo,
it'll be a problem after my land my foot. If you don't get knocked out, it's a wrap for me.
So I get to experience what success looks like in the creation, right?
Yeah.
Then I meet Kurt, and I get to see what success looks like in the iconic sense of it.
In the legacy terms.
Yes. You know what's funny? I meet Kurtis Blow, and he was just as humble as he was today, right now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He always had that energy.
Never had an ego.
He always had that energy, though.
Never.
Even when I met him, I shook his hand and everything. He had the pearly white teeth, and he was like, "Hey, man, how you been?"
Yeah.
And
I'd piss him
like
off,
that.
too. He'd yell at me, kick me out 100 times.
He's
We
calm.
get into arguments. Oh, yeah. But you know what?
He's passive. Okay.
5 minutes later, hey, man, you still tripping? Come on, man. Relax. Come back.
Oh, that's dope. I didn't even know you had a relationship with him like that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's what's up, man.
Bro, you
Good
know,
looking. Good
you know
looking for
how
bringing him to the
I
process.
was back in those days, man. Didn't change.
Look at that. I mean, I've been around places and all that, but I never, certain people, I had that personal, intimacy with it as far as the artists.
I can tell you this. Me and you linking up, all right? That's a genuine thing.
Yeah.
But now, my relationships are your relationships.
No doubt.
So you know what I'm saying? So there's still some good people out here in the industry. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And Kurt only
But I
deals
rebooted
with
my
a lot
shit,
of-
so you got no relationship through me because I don't even want to bring
Don't
nobody.
matter. No.
But I'll make you look.
We'll
I'm the guy that makes you look good, and be probably better than what you even thought. But just because it's just a new chapter where like I said, everybody has to reboot sometimes, like a computer reboot, man, because you start bringing things from the past that people are still lingering on. Not me, really. I'm not lingering on it, but you also have to. I had to, what's best for Cuban. And
100%.
I needed definitely a reboot to showcase my talent, to show that it's a brand new Phoenix coming out. You know what I'm saying?
Showcase your growth.
Everything.
Yeah.
The talent, the actual.
Let me not give him compliments because this motherfucker is the worst at taking compliments.
I am the worst. Yeah, I'll punch you dead in your chest if you say you love me. Like,
I love you, man. I love
stop.
you. Drop kick.
So bottom line is that this is perfect. This is a perfect 360-degree kind of meetup. This off the books podcast. So
awesome.
I will be definitely getting to know and interviewing some of my heroes, like I just did. Some of my people that influenced me in hip hop. Mr. Chick. That was an incredible surprise for me. I love that. And now Kurtis Blow is dope. It's dope. Like I said, it's always going to be dope, and we could share this type of love and this type of history on a podcast, especially with me. I'm in the middle of everything as far as like the career, 50 years old already. I'm in the middle. They like 70, but I'm in the middle where I went through my ups and downs and I could relate with them and still get inspired by their story. You know what I'm saying? But we get to the bottom line here. This is the truth, and it's not so much, ball shining around. It's
not all the
really,
fluff.
it's really trying to find out real things that the world don't know. That I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm asking personal questions because I could relate to their circumstances to a point, but definitely being a student of hip hop, like I said, I was from the get-go, and still being to the day I die. So.
And we're going to continue to evolve, man. What's up, Chuck D?
That's right,
Let's
Chuck D.
get
What's
that.
up? Let's get Chuck up
Let's
in
get Chuck up in here. You know what I'm saying?
And Flav, if we could. You know what I'm saying? Flav, my
That'd be
band.
fire.
Flav, my man. Benny Hannes used to pop up. Cuban!
Yo.
Big ass clock still. It'd be diamond down though. It'd be a giant ass clock, but it'd still be like 24 karat gold now.
It's so I look at the icons that we looked up to, right?
Right.
So I see Kurt and I say, you know who he reminds me of in our era?
In our era?
Yeah.
Well, I
But
got different. See, my era is
our era that we looked up to in hip hop.
Well, see, in business, in a business sense, and as far as like commercial sense, I'll take Big Daddy Kane.
There you go, my brother.
Big Daddy Kane was the one that was understudying him. Like, he took rap to that next level.
I'm saying,
like that.
Big
He was
Daddy
the first
Kane
Big
got
Daddy.
that Kurt vibe to it. And like it's like I take what you got and I'm gonna make my own. And Big Daddy Kane, see,
he was a trendsetter too.
Yeah, 100%, man.
They both. I mean, I'm sure Big Daddy Kane got it. You know what I'm saying? You say that Kurtis Blow was one of his mentors as far as like,
bro.
Yeah,
because
I can see the similarities.
You see the swag and then how he capitalized and then made his own thing, and then
like I get caught up in our era. I look at you like I told you, like you a little baby to me,
Yeah.
because of our history. But you are old bastard, and I think everything shows. So from the belly to the head, everything
That's
shows.
it, man.
You did that with me.
Hey, but you know what? It's beautiful because at least I get to show you some of the fruits of my labor.
And where you've been doing on your own, too.
Yeah,
So I'm very surprised and proud of you.
Thank you, brother.
You fucking little pink cheek fuck.
Yeah, that's right.
I love you. Oh, brother.
So,
another incredible podcast, Off the Books
everybody.
podcast. Y'all got to tune in. And y'all know my YouTube. I'll be going wild in my personal time.
Yep.
But, over here, I got to play the little, more commercialized, the Cuban. But I still got that edge to me. And my brother over here got them connections and those reflections. So, Cuban Revolution will definitely be televised.
Facts.
This is a part of the televised. So
appreciate everybody that's tuned in. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you follow us on everything that's social media. Very important. Make sure you stream Cuban Link music. Make sure you stream in GQ the Embassy music. You know what I'm saying? Last night was crazy in Miami. Shout out to La Plancha, the whole Low Life Miami movement. You know what I'm saying? It was
I didn't even know y'all was the club.
Great show. Yeah, it was a great show. I killed it. Everybody that performed, they did their thing. So salute to the whole Low Life family. You know what I'm saying? And you, my brother, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, salute to everybody,
Till
man.
next
I
week.
love the energy we over here. The dog just licked me, so you felt that wet shit.
I didn't, but you enjoyed it.
Don't know you. I just gave you a 5. That was nothing else but dog licking. You thought it might be something else, but no. See, but anyway, man, much love to everybody. Keep tuning in.
Yeah.
Off the Books podcast. Your boy Cuban Link and GQ, the embassy ambassador / president of
Whatever.
Yeah.
Cheers. Salute.
You already know what it is. He's down with the diplomats somehow. Salute, baby.